Alright, now here's what we got teed up today. It's another Graham Farish A2 Peppercorn class, or Tornado class. I can't really tell the difference, but I'll take it out here so you can see it a little better there. It's a beauty, that's for sure. I'll even take it out further. Yeah, how about this? I think it looks great. We'll get it out on the track so you can see it, this thing in action. So here it is, all loaded up on the track. Only got a couple cars behind it. Well, 3, because I noticed this thing doesn't have the best of grip. So it can't really pull the long train, which is a little unfortunate. There are also some other problems, which I'll get into a little later. But I'll start it up here and run it around. Well, I'm going to do the problems first for obvious reasons, and this thing sure has its fair share, unfortunately. Right off the bat, I'm giving it a 2. As you saw, it has a hard time staying connected to whatever it's pulling. The reason behind that is I noticed this back coupler. You can see it likes to pop up on you, which isn't good. And if I can unsnap it here, you can even tell. If I can even focus, see that little lip? It bends, this part right here bends up. And I think that's by design, which I don't understand, because that just means that this coupler constantly moves up and it just disconnects itself from anything it's pulling. It baffles the mind of how this is accurate, but it's given me a whole heap of problems trying to get this thing to pull anything, which is quite unfortunate. So for the remainder of the view here, you'll see it running around solo, because I can't for the life of me get this connector or coupler to, keep anything together there. Maybe just replace the coupler with something else, I don't know. But as designed, because I did buy this new, that's what I ended up with. Other problems you'll see, the front wheels tend to derail. So yes, there's a whole derail segment later on, but that's also part of the problems as well. And the grip is just not there. It does have 2 traction tires on the back, but it's like embedded into the wheel, and so it almost seems like the rubber or if I can try to focus this, it almost seems like the rubber part is like farther back, whereas the metal sticks out, and that's what hits the rails, and not the grippy traction tires there. So they're almost useless. Again, as designed, I don't understand why that is. Of course, this is a Graham Farish, and if you saw my other review of that A1 Seagull, it had some grip problems as well. And since it is a Graham Farish here, it is by Bachmann, so what can you expect? I should have known better. Maybe if this tender here was a little bit more weighty, it's on the light side, so maybe that has something to do with it. But as it stands, there's just too many problems with this model, especially what I paid for it, and especially as how nice it should have been. Now we'll get into the overall look. I think it looks beautiful. I love the design. It's a great looking engine. A lot of great details here, as you can see. Now, the paint scheme, when I bought it, it looked a whole lot more brighter, so I could have used a brighter paint scheme, especially when you compare it to the picture that I bought it from, off of the stock footage on eBay. It was definitely brighter over there. But when I got it, you know, it's on the darker side, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just would have liked to have seen it a little more green than dark and black. But regardless, I still think it looks great, so it's getting a 9 from me overall. That would be a fair estimate. Alright, as for the materials, I was also a bit disappointed in this area as well. The front here is all plastic, which is a difference from my other Grand Farish here. This is all metal, so I kind of expected the same. This part, of course, was all super cheap, if you saw that review. And this part in the back where the motor is, which I guess is the difference, because here the motor's in the front, whereas on this guy the motor's back here. This is still plastic, the plastic casing. The top here is metal though, with the coal there for some reason. But the rest is plastic. I do like the wheels. I think they did a good job on that. But overall, I mean, it kind of feels on the cheap side, which again, for such a high quality, or what was supposed to be a high quality model, the materials, I think they dropped the bucket on. So I'm giving it a 5, kind of right down the middle. You know, the overall casing in plastic was a shame, but it looks nice and it looks great, and I think they did a good job on the wheelbase and all the fine details, of course. Uniqueness, I think it has it. You don't see too many of these, especially here in the States, so I'm giving it an 8. I've always liked these tornado type of engines from the UK, and I always wanted to get one. Saw this one come up on eBay for an auction, brand new, and I ended up getting it because it is quite unique. I don't really have anything else like it. That's this style anyway, so wanted to get it for that reason, and that's why it's also an 8. Noise level, it's trending towards the loud side. There's definitely a screech there or something, but it isn't like an insanely grinding tornado sound, since it is a tornado class. I give it a 6 for the sound. That seems reasonable enough. Power needed, just right down the middle. Nothing special, nothing too concerning there. Giving it a 5. Seems to be pretty average. Now, I think the motor is more powerful than it gives itself credit for. Like I said earlier on, the traction tires back here don't seem to have any traction. So, I can slide this around with ease, and there's no grip whatsoever, none, it doesn't exist. So I'm giving it a 3. It still might be generous, because even when I start piling on, 2 or 3 cars, it starts to struggle to get some grip there on the tracks. Good luck pulling 5 or more. It won't even make it around corners, let alone the hill that I put in, so again, unfortunate, but that's what it is. Slow crawl, it's not bad. There's some kind of noise going on there, but it looks great. So can't complain about that. At slow speeds. Like those big wheels. Kind of hard to tell in the light shots here, but yeah, I'm giving it a 4. It's not terrible. Derailment, you'll see it. Those front wheels tend to pop off going around corners. The back ones do as well sometimes. Again, disappointing. Kind of taking this account in the problem section, but since this is a problem in and of itself, it's also getting a 2 here because it just can't stay on. So it's also quite tricky to get on the track because there are so many wheels. Not always a bad thing, but it does ding it back 1 or 2 usually. And with it just popping off around corners normally as well, you know, I gotta knock it back to a 2. Alright, now like I said earlier on, I won this off an eBay auction, brand new. I want to say the original retail price of this thing was like $200, $250, something like that. I won it for just over $100. I think it was like 101. It was 118 with shipping and everything because it did come from Germany, I want to say. So, you know, at face value it seems like a good deal, but when you factor in all the problems I've had, it's just not great. So for me, the value of this is going to be a 2. It's very unfortunate, and but I definitely overpaid for what I got. Again, I should have known better because Bachmann, you know, owns Graham Farish, and they don't always have the best of stuff, I've noticed, even though people try to tell me that they've been better over the years, but this is a brand new model. I think it's released as of a year or 2 ago, and just look how many problems I've had. It's not good. So I got hosed on this one. Probably the worst deal I've had so far. Alright, totaling it all up, comes in at 46, which is not good at all. I think I want to say it's almost the worst one I've had, if you discount that one that I bought with problems, which I did return, by the way. Yeah, anything under 50 is not good at all. 46 is a terrible score, but again, it is what it is. And you just gotta take the bullet, and yeah. I haven't run this around too much since I got it for obvious reasons. Mainly just keep it in the display case, which, you know, it looks great. So, you know, there's at least that going for it. You know, it at least looks good. So, I'm not completely out, I guess. But would like to see it actually work. That would have been nice. But apparently, you know, that's just too much for Bachmann here to help you out with. That kind of wraps this one up. A lot more to come still. I got so many trains. But I love it. So I'll keep documenting my reviews here with all the models that I've collected. Stay tuned for more.